This is how most of our generator sheds floors are designed. It uses a 2x4 decking with 4x4 rails, foundation rails. And we separate them with about a ½ inch of airspace so that the wheels of the generator don't get caught in them, but it allows plenty of airflow coming up through the floor up into the shed. Since airflow is a key component to running a generator in an enclosed space. First thing we're going to do to build this shed is cut the foundation skids, and the dimension of our skid needs to be 3 foot 8 inches. So we mark 3 foot 8 inches. Take a square, mark it, and then we go all the way around the board with this marking because the depth of the board is greater than the saw blade. You can see that here. So the saw blade is not going to make it all the way through on the first pass, so you cut one side and you cut the other. So after you've marked the board, you take your saw, double check, it was 3 foot 8, 3 foot 8, and we'll cut it. Okay, so we're cutting the floorboards. Each one of them is going to be 5 foot 2 inches long for this floor. We'll mark them and that. And we take the saw and we'll cut it. Okay, now that we have all our boards cut out, we're ready to attach them to the foundation rails. Before we do that, we need to mark the center of the first board so that we know where the center foundation rail will be attached. And half of 5 foot 2 is 2 foot 7 or 31 inches. So we put a mark on there, and then we'll put a mark on the center of our 3.5 inch board, which is 1 3/4. So that's the center. So then we're going to line up this with that. And this will be the first one that we attach, so that just to keep things easy. So make sure these edges here are flush. And then we'll do 2 screws at a diagonal to each other. I'm using these deck screws because they don't react with the pressure treated wood. We're just going to do one right now because this needs to move a little bit before, so that we can get the whole thing square. So we're going to attach that corner, and then we'll attach this corner with one each, and then we'll square it up with a tape measure, and then we'll lock it down with more screws. Now that we have one screw in each connection, we're still able to move it back and forth. And so what we'll do is we'll measure it from corner to corner, and then make them the same. And a key to measuring these diagonals is that these boards need to be exactly the length exactly the same length. And right now they're at 5 foot 2, and I've already checked that. And then you hook it on the corner, measure corner to corner. I have 75 3/4. And I have 76 1/4. So this one's longer, so we'll push it that direction and make make it shorter. Needs to be about 1/4 inch. Okay, that did about 1/8 of an inch. Hold this down. .76 and 76. So now it's square. So we need to lock this down where it is, so we'll put the second screw in each of these connections, and then it won't be able to shift anymore. And then we can go ahead and put the rest of our boards in. Now that these are screwed off, and so it's locked down, there's 2 screws in each of the connections. We're gonna set these boards on here that we cut out earlier. We're gonna space them about 1/2 inch apart. I'll verify that by doing this. Okay, so these boards need to be spaced evenly at just about 1/2 inch. Depending on the width of your boards, you know, they come and go. It's actually just a hair more than 3.5 or than 1/2 inch will space them evenly. So what I've done is cut this block that is just over 1/2 inch. It's about 9/16. And I'm going to, instead of trying to lay that out and do the math, it's kind of a lot of measuring and marking. I'm just going to use this spacer and try and get it right. You can cut the same thing. If it's a little bit too big or too small, you can cut another one until you get the spacing perfect. And I'll show you how to mark that. So you just take your first one and you put it up against it, and then step on it, and then just walk yourself along as you go. Make sure you're stepping on it so that you don't knock the previous one back. And the last one, it's just a 1/16 off, so it's not going to fit, but as you can see, that the spacing is consistent all the way across it on this end. And so is what we'll do now is screw off now that we know that spacing's good, we'll just start screwing off, and we'll use the spacer each time we screw them and board in to double check it. And you know, they're going to move as you're working on the platform. So put that spacer in there, flush it up, and then set a screw. And it's a good idea to go end to end so that you don't end up with an odd so just so everything stays lined up. You set your marker there, step on it. I like to just go through with one screw, get it set. Go through the whole thing with one on each one, and then come back and you tie it off by setting a second one on each one. Careful. So we'll just go through and finish this off. Okay, we've got the first screw in on each of the connections, and we've got them spaced appropriately. And so now we're going to go through and screw off the rest of the deck to lock it all down and get ready to frame walls.